This is the perfect RIA, in case you didn't know. Bringing you all the strategies to help your business grow. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Sit back and listen in while you feel the beat, yeah! Another myth bites the dust.
Hello, TBR Nation. This is Amber Kuhn from The Perfect REA. Thank you for joining me on today's Follow-Up Friday, where I'll be covering the highlights and action items from this week's episodes. Matt and Micah recorded Monday's episode live. Thank you to everyone who joined in on this live session. You can still go back over to our LinkedIn page to watch the original video where they shared a behind-the-scenes look at how they record their podcast episodes. The guys were talking about how if you want a successful practice, then you need to stop being lazy. Micah said it's so easy to say that I'm never lazy and I always work because I'm busy. But there's a huge distinction here between busy time and laziness. The guys hear from advisors who aren't saying they're bored, but instead it's always that they're too busy to do value adds or raise fees. Instead, these advisors need to be looking at what others are doing, or what one thing does someone else know that they don't know. Most of the time, that successful person is doing something that you're choosing to not do. So you need to get out of your comfort zone and do things you haven't done before. The guy shared a thought from Coach Joe Lucas that as a financial advisor, you're not doing anything physically demanding. But the difference between very successful advisors and everyone else is doing the hard things. So the easy thing to say is that you do quote unquote real financial planning and claim that's why it takes you so long to do something. But the hard thing is looking at whether that could be done faster and asking someone else about their process. That's hard on your ego. Micah said that if you do hard things long enough, they become habits, and they become natural, and you make them look easy. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they are hard things for new people to do. You also need to look at where you're being intentional with your time. That's not something that's complicated, but it's hard because it's easy for you to cop out and not do your professional development or don't read because you're tired. Matt talked about how the easy thing and the lazy thing is to say that you've done something a certain way, so that's why it should continue to be done a certain way. Changing that is hard because you have to look at your mindset and you're essentially telling yourself that a version of you is doing something wrong. But a better way to look at that is understanding that you were doing something the best way you knew how, and now you found a better way. Another sign that someone is being lazy and playing office is if you don't know what the hard thing is that you need to do today or this week, then you're avoiding it. Playing office is keeping you from having to do those hard things. So figure out what those things are and start planning those out in advance, and that will make all the difference. The guy said this isn't necessarily about finding a hack, but it's more about rolling up your sleeves and doing what you need to do. That may be creating and following a process or only working with the clients that you add value to. And that's hard because it's always easier to say yes to everyone. Another hard thing is avoiding cheap dopamine. So alerts and emails, and it's hard to resist that because it's satisfying short term. The hard thing is putting your phone on Do Not Disturb or getting off social media. Matt and Micah also said that it's easy to only network with people in your own field, but they recommend spending your time with people outside your field instead of doing the easy thing and just going to an industry conference. Another hard thing is getting out of the office at a certain time every day. You need to consider how do you tighten up your workday and give yourself less time to get things done. They said it's also easy to get into the should category. This needs to be instead, I choose to. This doesn't mean that you can't have fun. This is being very intentional because we live in a very reactive world. And this also comes into play with your team. If they see you playing office, then that's the environment that you're creating for them because the standards you've set is to play office. Look at, are you and your team on time to meetings? When do meetings end? Do you hold your team accountable, and are you holding yourself accountable to your team? Lastly, it's easy to just decide to add another team member. In your mind, you think you need to hire someone else, and that will be the easy way out, but that won't end up fixing things. Let's get into action items. You need to create a forcing mechanism so you'll get things done. You need to be more intentional with your time. This means time blocking when you're starting and ending things, and do this more than a week in advance. Do what successful people are doing, not what everyone else is doing. On Wednesday, Matt was joined by Brady Bassford. Brady is an advisor with a personal practice, and he's also the regional director for the Mid-Atlantic Financial Group. One of the unique things about Brady is he said that because he has his own practice, it gives him a unique perspective in his director role and coaching other advisors. He said there aren't many people that are in leadership at other firms that have the ability to be involved with clients day to day within their own personal practice, and then know what's working or what isn't, and then to be able to go back and provide that coaching to advisors. He feels that helps him add more value to the advisors he's helping day to day. Brady shared his journey from when he first started out, where he felt he was really good at getting in front of clients, but he didn't feel like he knew what he was doing. He said he didn't feel like he had the knowledge or processes to deliver value to clients. He had a colleague help him act as a mentor and help him with client meetings. One of the things that he learned was being able to run a meeting versus allowing a client to potentially derail his process. He learned how to take a client through an efficient process, and things just started to take off from there. One of the things Brady recommends is learning from advisors who are at the top of your firm, but also reaching out to those who are outside your firm, because that's where you'll expand your knowledge and your mind. He shared that he's found that there's 3 levels of advisors: those who understand everything about a specific topic but don't know how to communicate it well; someone who's good at communicating with clients but doesn't understand complicated financial planning topics; and then there's those who know the ins and outs of financial planning and they can communicate it well. He said if you're in those first 2 groups, then you know immediately who you need to be working with. Brady also talked about the difference in advisors, either who are younger or less experienced. He said that those who just show up at the office and do the work will probably do well in the business, but that it's those who are putting in the extra effort and focusing on things that they can improve. Those are the ones who will truly take off. Those new advisors who are over-preparing for client meetings are doing really well, and that may include role-playing your meetings multiple times, which not only makes for a better meeting, but it allows you to have more opportunities to practice. Matt said that whatever it is that you feel that you don't want to do, that's probably what you need to do to get to the next level. Matt and Brady wrapped up by talking about what is the most overlooked advice. For Brady, he said that would be reading. He feels that no matter what level you're at, you should never stop learning. That you should find time to continuously improve yourself. That will help you execute at a higher level and deliver more value to your clients. Let's get into action items. Read at least 10 pages a day. Practice your presentation before your meetings. Be self-aware of where you're at and look at where you need to improve. And then seek mentorship no matter what level you're at. And don't be afraid to reach out to others. On Thursday, Jamie kicked off our episode by sharing how it's easy to forget that we live in a world of abundance and opportunity, but that all it takes is for you to talk to people in your community to realize that there are more good people than bad people in this world. She moved into talking about your routines and how you need to look at your life and see where you're slipping or abandoning some of your routines, and how do you get back to that? It's easy, especially over the summer, to lose sight of some of your goals and get distracted, and then you end up not doing your morning success rituals. She said sometimes this happens because you're in a funk and you're not feeling like yourself. It's easy then to see where you've gotten off routine, but she said, what about if you're having fun and you do feel like yourself? You still need to check in and see if you're off track. Think about what kind of impact this will have if you start to slip. Jamie then talked about how this can change if you're implementing Surge, because with Surge, you're hyper intentional about that meeting time with clients. But what does that look like outside of Surge? During that time, you can't forget the ambitious goals that you set for yourself, especially if you've decided to have a lifestyle practice, because that means that you're being hyper intentional about your time. Lifestyle is not about laziness. It's about delivering massive value. You're being hyper-focused, hyper-intentional, so you can deliver massive value to your clients, spend more time out of the office with the people that you love, and be highly profitable. Jamie shared that delivering massive value to your clients doesn't have to do with your fee structure. If you put the money first, you're putting the heartbeat second. Jamie believes that when you put the value first, then the money will follow you. Because when clients talk to you, it's not going to be about your fees. It'll be about getting your help so that they don't outlive their income. So you have to change your focus into delivering massive value first. Jamie shared an experience with a recent prospect who was argumentative and confrontational about cash flow and was being very difficult. She and her dad, Floyd, took the higher road during the meeting, knowing that they wouldn't bring this person on as a client. But their time with her was to deliver massive value and to answer the questions that she had, because she still deserved to get advice and the recommended action items. Jamie said to remember that as the financial advisor, you're the guide, not the hero. The client is the hero. You want to create a positive experience whether or not you're bringing someone on. So no matter what, you're being intentional about delivering massive value during your client meetings. What about spending more time out of the office with the people that you love? Jamie said you have to be just as focused on this as you are with everything else. That means doing hard things. Your workload will look different, but you still need to be intentional about that time. For our members, use our recommended financial advisor Perfect Week outside of Surge to help you stay on track. If you're not on routine outside of Surge, then things will keep getting pushed back, or you'll come up with times where you're working when you should be spending that time with your family. You need to be disciplined about the things you're doing and when you're supposed to be focused and when you need to be disengaged. You have to be intentional about breaking away from work and being with those people you love so you can incorporate a lifestyle practice without experiencing diminishing returns. Jamie also talked about profitability. You have a responsibility to be profitable to your practice. The work you put in has to give you returns back, and you can't forget to track this. Jamie wrapped up by making sure that you're sticking with your goals and to stop waiting for the ideal time. Start being the change that you want to see today and become that leader now that you want to be in 3 to 5 years. Start keeping the promises that you are making to yourself and start taking action. So let's get into action items. Are you off your morning success ritual? Look at where you need to get back on track. What are the things that you're doing every day to be that person you want to be in 3 to 5 years? And email us at lifestyle@theperfectRA.com to learn more about our coaching programs. That wraps up this week's recap. Thank you for joining me on today's Follow-Up Friday. Be sure to give us 5 stars wherever you're enjoying this podcast and share this or any of our episodes with another advisor or a team member who you think might benefit from listening. And until next time, happy planning.
Hold on before we go. Something that you need to know. This isn't tax, legal, or investment advice. That isn't our intent. Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice. Be a better husband, father, mother, and wife.